Before I start to weave, I like to insert 2 pencils to lift the warp threads up off the loom. This makes the weaving a lot easier, and it tightens up the warp just a little more, and that's a good thing. I tear the fabric into strips 1/2 inch wide, just like I did with the fabric strips I put on the loom. I place the 2 ends of the strip together and cut them at an angle, tapering them for weaving. Then I thread it through a tapestry needle and weave across, going over and under each fabric strip on the loom. It's a little tricky to go over and under the fabric strips, but you'll get used to it. Just a reminder, the strips on the loom are called the warp, and the strips I'm weaving back and forth are called the weft. I leave a tail hanging on the left side. Then I thread it through the needle and weave it up on top of the first row. I went over the first warp strip on the row beneath, so I go under as I weave the tail above. If you don't have a beater, a table fork works just fine. I pack it down, then I take the long end and weave it across. Weaving right on top of the tail I just wove in. That hides it. Here's how I start a new strip. I weave the last bit of the previous strip into the warp. I taper the new strip at both ends, just like I did before for the first strip I wove. Then I weave the new strip right over the old one. The 2 strips will be doubled up for a few inches. So I'm sort of splicing them together. I forgot to make a video of weaving in the top and taking the project off the loom. So I'll show you how I did it on a similar project, but I used yarn for the warp. It's from the previous section on weaving with torn fabric strips. Cutting across the back is the scariest part. I sewed the strips down with my sewing machine using a zigzag sort of stitch. A straight stitch or hand stitching would be fine too. It's a little trickier to weave with the torn strips because they're frayed a bit, but it makes such a beautiful texture. It's worth it. And it's not that hard.